If there's no objections, I'm going to call the meeting of the REO to order. We don't have the minutes, I don't believe. I'll check back with the city council staff, see if they had a copy they can forward to everybody. And at the next scheduled meeting in April, we will accept those minutes. Maureen, you're aware that you will continue to do the minutes just like you normally, even though the meeting is recorded through Focus Springfield?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
If there's no objections, review. Hope, would you like to kind of take and give us an overview of where things stand with ongoing projects? And you're on mute. You're muted, Hope.
Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you.
I forwarded the updated report on the Brightwood Lincoln project, which, as you know, that is the major project currently going on. The numbers look very good, in my opinion. The only number that is short, and not by very much, are the residents. The residents are at almost 31%. Minorities are over 29%. Women are over 7%, and veterans are just a hair under 6%. So the only shortfall is on residents, and that's only by about 4%.
And to piggyback off of what Hope just stated, that there have been issues trying to get residents. We've been dealing with subs and trying to get some residents, and it's been hard for them to get residents as well. So the numbers are great, and they bear out being in COVID and not being able to get the numbers that we would have if we weren't in COVID, and the residency would be higher if there were actually more residents that were being on site.
Okay. And a copy has been sent out already electronically to the board of those numbers?
Yeah, an email was sent to everybody that was on Maureen's email string setting up or confirming today's meeting. So should have been all the board members, as well as Theo, let's see. All the board members plus TJ, Theo, some additional people that I'm not even sure who they are. Lisa Clausen, I think.
I didn't receive it. I just did a double check and I haven't gotten it.
Let me see. All right, sorry. Well, I can certainly send it to you just in
That'd be
case.
great, thank you.
Let me get down to it.
Excuse me, sorry. I've been called in by the mayor. I got to get going. Hope can answer any question that I could anyway. So apologies. I'll see you guys at the next meeting.
Okay. Well,
Bye, Shay.
I'm back again.
Have a good day.
Okay, I hope I didn't miss anything, but I was frozen just for a couple of seconds there.
Lisa, I just sent it to you, so you should get it momentarily.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think we're still trying to work out like who's getting these emails and stuff. Anyway, so check your emails and you'll have the spreadsheet in front of you.
Hope you can just send just one to me and I can forward everything out when I send out the agenda, if you want to do that. Would that be easier?
Okay, that's fine. Did you get yours, Maureen?
I did.
Okay.
I got mine.
So
Why don't we just do that? That way everybody's going to have the same thing. They'll have the agenda as well as your.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions for Hope or Che from any of the board members? Hearing none.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly check in. So Hope, have you actually guys been having good luck with contractors that you have I mean, have you given a lot of warnings that people that were behind, and have they been really good about at least responding and making effort as this project has moved forward?
Yeah, I gotta say, well, I mean, there's some difficulty, obviously, with the pandemic, that there's been far fewer face-to-face meetings. I know on the Brightwood project, there was really only one subcontractor that I'm aware of, and you could certainly broach this with Shay next month. But there was only one subcontractor that really kind of, I guess the phrase would be, sort of had the wrong attitude or the wrong approach to the REO. And we were able to work with Frank Amaro, who is the REO liaison guy at Brightwood. And there were some warning letters sent out to that particular subcontractor. It did seem that sort of universally on this project that the subs really have been putting in an effort. Now, obviously, if you're looking at it, there's some subs that didn't do too well, but those were made up for by other subcontractors. And as I said, I mean, I think this project shows that that it certainly can be done. And as I said, the only category where we fell a little short was the residents, and we're still at over 30%.
What percentage of work is left to be done there, Hope? Is it 95% complete? But what percentage would you say is done?
I would say it's probably in the 85 to 90% range done. So I think these numbers are pretty solid. You know, obviously they're going to change a little bit, but I think that these are pretty solid numbers on that. Now, I know DeBerry Howard is going to be starting up. We had a pre-con meeting, like a pre-con meeting a couple of weeks ago on that project. So that'll be the next major project coming up. But we've already sat down on a Zoom meeting with those guys, with the project managers, and to discuss the REO requirements and so forth. So I'm hopeful that that project will be as successful or more successful than Brightwood.
Excuse me, Hope, what was that project? Howard, did you say?
DeBerry Howard Elementary School?
It's Homer Street. It's
Or,
not
I'm
Howard.
sorry, Homer. I'm sorry. I'm saying Howard. Sorry.
What is it?
Homer.
The DeBerry Homer Elementary
Oh,
School?
the Barry Homer. Okay, gotcha. Yep. And that's just barely getting started, right?
Yeah, I think that's still in the bidding process.
All right.
I think like some of the subs are getting pre-qualified on that.
Correct. The pre-quals just.
Could I ask
opened
another
up and-
question?
Sure.
Okay. With the Brightwood Lincoln kind of REO awareness and expectations, the whole one, did we end up getting the duration of that? Have we been on that one right from the start?
Yes. Yeah, that one started, I want to say July or August of 2019.
Of 19?
And the REO was amended in February of that year.
Oh,
So the first big one that, you know, at the outset, the amended REO was applicable.
Good. Good. Is there any other ones going on now that are before the new school, the Barry Homer starts? Is there anything else going?
There's a couple of boiler replacements that are getting started. Most recently, there seem to have been a lot of horizontal construction projects that weren't applicable to the REO, or the REO wasn't applicable to them.
Yep.
So we've got a few boiler replacements getting started at Frederick Harris Elementary, and I'm drawing a blank on what the other elementaries are on that.
Indian Orchard Elementary School and Sumner Avenue School.
Okay, yeah. So we got a few of those just getting started.
Okay, and
And those are pretty quick projects. Those are projects that the goal is to have those done within 6 months.
And they still have to, follow the guidelines of the REO.
Those fall under the REO based on dollar amount of the contracts. And also that it's physical construction on the building. I mean, there's not a whole lot as far as, and Theo, you can correct me on this, but much of the cost of that is the actual, I would assume, purchase of the boilers.
Yes, there are 3 of the MSBA accelerated repair projects. Actually, only one of them is an REO project because it's over $500,000. The other 2 came in under. And Hope is correct that those are going to be fast movers. They're going to be the estimated date of substantial completion is before the kids go back to school. So it's August, whatever, of this year.
So I think the Frederick Harris is, then if that's the case, the Frederick Harris is the only one that's over the 500,000.
Correct.
Right. It's
Question.
interesting.
Oh, go ahead.
Just one more comment when there's chance.
What's that?
I just have one more comment when I can't tell.
Tim, go ahead. Keep talking,
Okay,
Tim.
I'm encouraged by the Brightwood Lincoln. As I recall, that was O'Connell that was the general contractor or something. And that guy, the meeting we had with them, whenever that was, a year and a half ago or something, I was really impressed with the guy. He was right in tune with the whole thing. He understood the REO. He was enthused about the project. And at least I had the feeling right from the start that this was going to be if this guy was, was consistently the guy running it, that this would be a success. So that's encouraging to know that they have maintained that and kept and done a great job. It sounds like.
Yeah, I agree. They've really been on top of it.
And that's instructive mainly for, I don't know if they'll get the next one or whoever gets it, but encouraging people to get involved and just rather than fight the REO, kind of embrace it and just go with it. Seems to be a great strategy for them. So anyway, just a cheerleading comment. Nice job keeping up with them and staying with it. That's a good success.
Councilor Edwards, can I just hop into something that Councilor Allen was just saying?
Yes, please.
Okay, thanks. So in keeping with what Councilor Allen was just saying about, kind of making these vendors or these contractors feel good about the REO, do we have any plans? And Councilor Edwards, I don't know if you have a plan to kind of present to the city council how well this project's done, because I think getting out into the city council and to the city about how well this project did and kind of talking about the accolades could potentially even push the REO further with companies coming on for the future projects to be able to be like, oh, well, they got, called out for doing a great job. And, the city takes it seriously. And now that we're hitting some of these numbers, we want to be able to kind of like celebrate, what we're doing.
Well, I've generally been, I've started this year post-pandemic, in January, doing reports of committee. In years past, most of the council had very little interest, and most of the work we were doing was more of trying to just get the REO functional. But this year I have been doing reports of committee. I don't see it as a bad thing to be able to do a report at the next regular meeting and mention the company by name as kind of reaching some of those goals. If you would like to create a narrative or a small little snippet that you'd like to have stated, that would be fine as well. I know there's a lot of conversations going back and forth with some of my colleagues and the administration as to the procurement and things like that. I've been trying to stay away from that as much as I can and just focus on the work of the REO. Too often, a lot of these things get politicized, and you know, the numbers are to what they are, and it depends on how you want to interpret numbers, I guess, and then it just gets into the weeds of things. But generally, the last meeting we had, I presented the numbers and I made sure that they got sent around. And in fact, what I suggest is that when Maureen gets the minutes that they get circulated to the committee of the whole, and the same thing with the numbers that they did the worksheets. The last ones we got from the last project, I made sure they got circulated to everybody on the committee as well. So I think that's probably one of the things we can do. Happy to say something positive about it is O'Connell, correct?
Yes.
Yes, that they've reached the numbers and they've done significant, and make reference to the fact how difficult it is in general, but it was made even more difficult because of the pandemic. So I'll be happy to do that. And I have great appreciation for the yeoman work of everybody that's been involved with, with this. Theo has been in a lot of meetings lately on these types of conversations. And so, yeah, I'll be happy to make when I make my committee report, call them out by name and say something positive about it. But if anybody wants to contribute to that narrative, just send it to me with your suggestions and I'll make sure they get mentioned.
Can I jump in here, Counselor?
Please. I'm trying to be informal as I can, instead of raising hands and stuff. It's a small enough group that I don't think we have to be that formal, but as long as we don't step over each other when we're trying to speak, I think we'll be fine.
Okay. I know that Che has had discussions with Frank at O'Connell about sending, kind of a letter of, I guess, a letter of commendation or just sort of recognizing the success of the project. But I was thinking that it might be something the committee would consider worthwhile would be, once that project is concluded, we get the final numbers, and assuming they stay, pretty close to where we are, having a representative of O'Connell, whether it's Frank Amaro or someone higher up, to appear before the committee and kind of do a bit of like a debriefing or getting some feedback from them of, what methods did you find the most successful when dealing with your subs, that kind of thing. Because I know that the way the amended REO is written, the committee is supposed to kind of give a grade for the performance on the contract. And I think that might be a way for the committee to do that, as well as getting some feedback and providing feedback to the contractor, the GC, on the project itself.
I agree.
Something to throw out there.
Yeah, actually sounds outstanding. I mean, this has got to be a collaborative effort between the contractors. This is and the administration. I mean, not the administration, but the committee itself and the work we're trying to do. It doesn't always have to be adversarial. I have no problem with that. In fact, I think that might be very productive, having their perspective and listening to what their concerns and what was difficult and what would really work. And maybe we can share some of the more appropriate ideals of how to make it more successful with other potential contractors as they go down this path. No problem with that at all. And I'm a big fan of acknowledging people that are trying to do the right thing. If it wasn't for that grateful effort, I probably would have never got through school. So thank you for the idea. I think we lost, no, Fiore's still here. So does anybody else have any comments or questions before I kind of open it up to some of our guests?
Yeah, I have one more comment.
Sure, Tim, please.
I don't want to get too formal about it. I'm not really that formal, but I remember when MGM finished, they had a recognition event of some sort for their contractors that had, succeeded as this one has. So I know we're not in any place to do that, and that's, probably way beyond what we're ready to do anyway, but it might call for a proclamation or some sort of an award for, finishing the project successfully and also meeting the goals. It's something to think about along the lines of recognition.
Actually, Tim, I'm not opposed to it. And actually, if you wanted to join me in trying to put something like that together, what I would suggest is that we're probably not there yet. We might have another month, a couple of months to give that some consideration, but everybody may not be privy, as you and Tim and I are, of the conversation that exists in the tenor of the community, the neighborhood. My only fear with trying to do something too broad, at least at this moment, maybe when it's done, it would be appropriate. But right now, throwing a proclamation out there, I could just imagine a couple of your colleagues using that platform as an attempt to embarrass the administration. Now, I don't think you've been a part of that. You heard the conversation and the comments being passed back and forth. I don't think you've been a part of it, nor have I. And I don't think there's a lot of value to what's being said, but at the same time, when you open up things like that and you start trying to throw praise or go, profusely, that just opens up Pandora's box and allows people who will use that platform for their own political gain, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I follow you. I'm not on a mission. I just do think it's a great opportunity to recognize them in some way. I don't think we should do it yet. It's only March. We could do it in the summer if they retain this and finish the project. But I'm on the audit committee, so I'm fully aware of what you're talking about. So,
Okay.
and I think whatever we do, I just don't want to. I think there's an opportunity to recognize these people, and if they maintain this level, I think we should in some fashion, even if it's a quiet recognition.
Well, I'll join you in that, and I support the idea wholeheartedly, and that's why I made reference to the time frame. I'm hoping the temperatures kind of goes down a little bit right now, or within in the next few weeks or the next month. I'm hosting a general government committee on the 29th, and I'm going to be talking about wage stuff. So I'm hopeful. We've been talking about these things for many years. Now we got political people who are trying to jump on it and make it pay of things that we've been working on for over a decade. And they're politicizing conversations. Sometimes they're talking about things they don't know, or they're not that confidently speaking of. I know Marcus has been catching a lot of flack because some of the union reps from across the area have been pushing for the reestablishment of the committee that Victor had been appointed under Justin last year, pre-pandemic. And Marcus chose, as our president, chose not to reappoint him or recreate the committee. His feeling was that the union issues should be and could be appropriately addressed through either Economic Development Committee, through the REO Committee, or through the General Government Committee. So that's caused a lot of unpleasant conversations among counselors on that subject. So that's why it may be, if they're doing a good job, I'll be happy and probably stand with them and acknowledge them publicly for doing it, and at the appropriate time. And I'll make sure that, the thing is I'm okay with doing that, and they should be acknowledged, and we should encourage them. So I agree with Hope 100%. But right this moment, right now, there's just so many different things being thrown away around, so much misinformation, and
I guess that's I hear you, and I think that's one conflict or conversation I was not part of, so I didn't know about that one. So anyway, so I'll follow your lead, but I think we're all on the same page, and we got a winner here. We could keep it a winner for 3 more months. We should do something. That's all.
Yeah, and I agree, and I'll be happy. That's why I say, if me and you, we can do it together jointly. That way, the thing is it also creates, because a lot of the optics and conversation is racially motivated. I think the optics of having me and you together, standing, together on this and saying, this contractor was doing the right thing for the right reasons. And the thing is at the same time, when contractors are not doing the right thing, we should be just as eager to hold them accountable as well. So, and of course, there is no perfection in anything that we're doing. So we're not trying to say that this process and this contract, everything that they've done and are doing is perfect. We will have, but at least this is the first one where we actually had everything in place. This was our, some will call test case and what have you. We expect everyone moving forward to be better at it, and we'll be better at monitoring it as well. So no great.
Can I jump in?
Sure. Come on, Fiore.
So I'm agreeing with everything you guys are saying, but I want to err on the side of caution, because what we don't want to do is come out of the box with this test case project and pat them on the back and say, oh my God, you guys did a great job. Because then it sets the tone for other contractors moving forward, that even if you're a little light, we're okay with that. Well, that's not the tone we want to set out there. I do believe at the end, we should have this contractor and he can explain to us, we're not going to bash the guy, but we should be able to at least hear why those numbers were so low. And again, it's going to be stuff we're already familiar with, but I don't think they should get a pass and not show up in front of us, not explain what happened in this project. Were there opportunities to get more residents at the time? I don't know, but over a year and a half, you might have been. So all I'm saying is I don't have a problem patting them on the back with the women, minorities, and the veterans. But we want to be careful of the language used around residents, because they did fall short. And again, as a law, it says you have to meet it. And it was your obligation as the general contractor to hire subs that would help you meet those numbers. So just want to be a little cautious of how we work around language or giving them, pats for the overall project. I don't have a problem with it, but I think we should be a little bit more cautious on some of the language we use around it. That's all.
Well, I think Fiore, that was essentially what I was trying to say.
Yep.
Everything we do cautiously, because even if their numbers were excellent by the standard by which we would judge them as a committee, none of us on this committee want to be mayor in 3 years. So some of the people who would like to be mayor in 3 years will use this as an opportunity to bash. That's the reality. When you're in, it's election season, people who haven't done a whole lot over the last 2 years will now raise their head up and will get very proactive trying to do things. And if one person said the sky was blue, somebody else will say it's red. Nobody is suggesting that we sugarcoat this, not call them in, not hear. In fact, that was what was suggested, is we listened to what worked and what didn't work and what was difficult to get done. The thing is and for, the suggestion that the pandemic hasn't had an impact on employment across all trades, regardless whether it's construction, retail, or any other biz manufacturing. The reality is that it's not normal. This is not normal. The national conversation about how much you get from unemployment, whether or not some people actually made more staying home drawing unemployment than they did when they were working, may not necessarily apply to construction trades, but certain trades have been booming. Home repair has been booming, but other projects haven't. So, we are not suggesting that we're giving anybody a pass or trying to sugarcoat anything. I think what was suggested is we call them in, listen to what was done well, have a conversation about how to improve what wasn't done well, but acknowledge that their effort and acknowledge that, for the most part, things were pretty good, or at least headed in the direction in which we would be more confident, and then we would work on how to make it even better moving forward. Don't want to send any negative messages that we're completely satisfied. And so, but I think we're all on the same page. We just, and at least we're all rowing in the same direction. So, any other comment, question before I kind of open it up? And actually, I wanted to welcome Melanie. We haven't had the pleasure of your company very often in the past, so welcome. It's nice to see you here, and I hope you enjoyed this meeting. Did you have anything you wanted to share, or just an observation or a comment, or even, complaint.
No complaints. Thank you, Councilor Edwards, for the welcoming. I'm the budget director at Finance for all those who don't know me. I'm Melanie Akobe. And I'm just going to be listening in and learning since I haven't been part of these meetings in the past. This is just going to be learning for me.
Well, welcome. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
If there are any past business that we need to address before I open up to either Lisa or to Charlie? Anybody else have anything? Theo, do you have anything you want to throw in here?
No, not at this time. You know, you guys kind of nailed it. I think the legislation works. It's heading in the right direction. I think that being on this committee for as long as you guys have been on it, and as long as I've been assigned to it, we can see a measurable progress. And I think that's worth mentioning.
Well, I want to personally thank Theo and the entire team. Theo, lately, I've spent more time in meetings with him than I had in the past. He's been outstanding doing yeoman's work in multiple conversations on issues related to labor, procurement, and I just want to tell him that I do appreciate it. I've noticed, and I thank him for what he's been trying to get done. If there's no objections, Charlie or Lisa, and actually, Charlie, I'm sure you wouldn't mind if Lisa had, not to sound gender specific, but Lisa, if it's okay with Charlie, would you like to add or make a comment, or comment? Is this public comment portion of this meeting?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Lisa Clausen with the Carpenters Union, and it's just, it's great to get these reports, and very, very helpful. Hope, thank you for that. I agree with the earlier sentiments that it's great to raise up contractors that are doing a good job on it, and as well as, you know, hold to the fire those, you know, in the future that are not doing so well with it. So open to different ideas on that front as well. But thank you for the work everyone's doing.
Okay, Charlie, did you want to add anything?
I like the idea that you guys had about rewarding our contractors and not making it too public. Could I suggest that we just send a letter that a contractor has successfully completed the job and they have met the requirements of the REO, and we'd appreciate them bidding on work in the future. And for those that didn't, a letter that says, thank you for completing the project, but you failed to fulfill the commitment to the REO. And in the future, if you bid jobs, we'd like you to let us know your plan to be successful. And when you can ask them on the next job, did you ever do a job for the city? And can we see the letter? Or can you tell us the status of that letter?
You're muted, Chairman.
Councilor Edwards, you're muted.
I can't control all the phones in the house and the RE dogs, so I apologize. Appreciate the comment, take it under consideration. I certainly would like to hear other people's thoughts, but it's something we can chew on, and perhaps we're figure out a way. Obviously, probably something needs to be done so that we are not just acknowledging the contractors are doing well, but also the ones that aren't doing well. And I think that there might be something in this type of grading system. Perhaps we can have a discussion, and Theo or Hope can talk about how they track people and how they, legally address those who may fall short. Okay, the only other thing that I really wanted to, I think we are where we're at now, we need to affirm is the schedule of meetings. We had suggested the third Tuesday of each month. We're on the fourth Tuesday, I believe now, because I believe we were supposed to meet last Tuesday. This has been more difficult than our normal, just having a room available, sitting out and getting quorum, because we've had to coordinate it through Focus Springfield. I want to thank Maureen for the help, and also extend some help. A hearty thank you to Kelly and Sue in the council office. They've been working directly with Focus, Maureen, and myself, trying to make sure that we pull this off on Focus Springfield. We need to appreciate and thank Focus. They have been inundated. They're trying to satisfy 13 city councilors and a whole host of department heads and entities across the city to try to make sure that these meetings are satisfying the open meeting laws as required by the Commonwealth. So I want to thank Focus Springfield. I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy days to spend some time with us. And is there anything that I have missed that we need to address now? And if not, I believe the next scheduled meeting will be April 20th, which is a Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Does that sound accurate to everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. A motion to adjourn,
So moved.
and seconded by myself or Fiore or Lindsay. I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Be safe, stay healthy, and God bless. Thank you.
Thanks,
You as
everybody.
well. Hi, everyone.